I'd like to introduce our first presenter today, Darren Bondar, founder, CEO, and president of Inner Spirit Holdings. Inner Spirit Holdings has taken a unique approach to cannabis retail, having utilized a mix of franchise and corporate-owned stores to rapidly expand its store brand, SpiritLeaf, across the nation. Just this week, the company opened its 75th branded SpiritLeaf location in Canada, a milestone achievement. Last quarter, the company also recorded positive EBITDA. So without further ado, I'd like to turn the call over to Darren to tell us more about Inner Spirit Holdings. Darren, please go ahead.
Drew, and hi everybody. Thanks definitely to Echelon for being such a great supporter of cannabis retail, and really thrilled to present our company. What we've accomplished really in a matter of 3 years is truly incredible. And I think we've developed what is really a world-class corporate culture, driven by cannabis enthusiasts and local entrepreneurs, where everyone really takes responsibility for the success of the entire company. And it's a corporate culture that promotes diversity, equity, and inclusion. And our ethos and manifesto really are embedded in everything we do and embody the SpiritLeaf brand. And we built our company on people. We're differentiated, we're remarkable, we've got purpose, we're courageous, we listen to our customers, support our communities, we co-create, we congregate, and we promote personal freedom. I want to share with you our manifesto, as ultimately, as I say, it embodies everything we do, and you have to really see it to understand how great this company is. So I'm going to ask Echelon to take the screen back for a minute and play the video, and I'll be back in 90 seconds. Where there is smoke, there is fire. Where there is fire, there is a deep passion to share our joy and knowledge of cannabis within the communities we live. There is no one more informed, more dedicated, or more willing than we are to educate, support, and inspire the people and the populations we serve. We harness our collective energy to create a beloved brand because this is our labor of love. We know where we come from, and our authenticity extends from the motivation of the people who have come before us, the pioneers behind the counterculture roots of the cannabis movement. We are anchored by our history and the practice of using the cannabis plant as a channel for creativity, tranquility, introspection, and sociability. We pledge to absorb and honor our cultural traditions and continue the legacy of elevating our inner spirits. We grow when our communities flourish, so it is our duty to cultivate deep connections with our consumers and our partners through understanding and continual engagement. We respect each individual's reason for choosing cannabis as a way of enhancing their quality of life. Social, therapeutic, and spiritual journeys are all welcome here. We know where we are going. We are trailblazers leading the charge in a brand new industry. We believe in connecting people in a world which is deeply divided. We believe that everyone matters equally, regardless of status, age, ethnicity, or creed. We aim to foster true community spirit through what we stand for, who we serve, and the products we provide. We can imagine a world full of peace, love, and harmony. We are SpiritLeaf. Awesome. Thanks everybody for listening there for 90 seconds. And now I'm going to go to the next slide, I believe. Great. So to give you an idea of where we are and how we're positioned today, we are Canada's leading single brand retail network across the country, from coast to coast. We've applied what I think is a very successful retail and franchise and branding model to the industry. We surpassed 70 stores this year already, with a 75th store set to open this week in St. Catharines, Ontario. And in 2020, we're surpassed $100 million in system-wide sales and are well on our way to having over 100 stores open in this fiscal year. And also incredibly, we served over 2.3 million customers last year. So we're getting huge engagement from guests across the country. And we have over 200,000 members in our collective program. In fact, we're just about to hit 210,000 members. So that gives you kind of a quick indication of where we're at today. From an investment perspective, there's 6 things I'm going to touch on in the presentation. Number 1, I'm going to show the size of the market, which most of you are likely familiar with. I'm going to talk about the benefits of the franchise model and how we're profitable by using the franchise model. Obviously going to talk about how we've been effective in opening 75 plus stores across the country. We're very excited and passionate about our retail experience. Retail today is really an omni-channel industry. And I'm going to show you how we effectively execute at retail. We have the most incredible team that's working on this and is so passionate. We actually have over 700 employees now across the entire country amongst our network. And we've got some of the great strategic partnerships with some of the industry-leading brands. The Canadian market, as we saw in 2020, was estimated to be $2.5 billion. And Stats Canada hasn't put out the December numbers yet, but my estimate is it'll actually be 2.6 billion, slightly higher than the original estimates, and extrapolate to grow to 4.1 billion in 2021. The US market, which is also growing in size and lots of MSOs have been making great progress, is going to have huge traction over the next number of years. And franchising, and internationally, Mexico and Israel are also about to come on board. Franchising has proven by other industries and other companies to be a very effective way to penetrate these markets. In fact, in the US, franchising, I believe there's an estimate of about 1 million established franchise businesses generating over $1 trillion worth of business a year. So franchising is not new, but it is certainly new to the to the cannabis business. Our strategy really from day one to penetrate this market and to be effective has really been to build an iconic brand. We knew that the entire country and the entire world was watching Canada to be the first G7 country to legalize cannabis. And we wanted to do it right. We wanted to be classy. We wanted it to be educational, and we wanted it to be responsible. And we want to do that by developing a brand. We're a one brand company with one focus, and SpiritLeaf is really gaining quite notoriety and some great traction. And then from that brand, we really wanted to represent all the amazing licensed producers who we've been hearing about and reading about for the last number of years, to sell their products and tell their stories and showcase all the talented growers in our stores and provide education to our customers and show all the different formats that would be available and why cannabis has so much power and can just be such a great, can just have such great benefits. And then also, we want to use what we call a low capex franchise model. And we felt right from the get-go that we would just be a lot more effective with an entire team of franchise partners. I don't like the word franchisee. We call them our partners. As we knew, operating from coast to coast in 5 different provinces, soon to be 6, would be quite challenging from a pure corporate perspective. So we launched our franchise model and also operate corporate stores, which really have worked beautifully together and quite harmoniously. Just to give you an idea from our franchise perspective, we had 43 stores open last year for the full year, and their average sales for our franchise partners was $1.8 million. And from a sales to investment ratio, which is a common metric used in the franchise industry, that represented a 360% return. Whereas a typical quick service franchise is pretty happy with 150%. So our franchise partners are extremely happy with the results that they've achieved. And we've just been inundated with franchise applications. We've received thousands. And today we have 62 franchise groups operating stores across the country. And they themselves have invested almost $50 million into their own stores. So that's kind of the benefit of the low capex model, is that we don't have to necessarily dilute our shareholders to gain additional market traction and market share. Just to give you a quick background and back it up a little bit, we started in 2017, about 18 months before federal legalization. And we started the brand development right out of the gate, attending industry trade shows. And then we were the first company, and I believe we're still the only retail cannabis company in Canada to be granted membership to the Canadian Franchise Association, which really gave us a great reputation and the reputability to sell all of these franchises and to promote our concept. And from that time in 2017 until 2018, before legalization even happened, we had over 100 franchises ready to go and be able to build the stores and execute effectively. We unveiled our store design, which you saw some in the video, which has been really well received. And we actually were the first recreational retail cannabis company to do a true IPO, which we did and started trading on the CSE in August 1st, 2018. And throughout that, we also started teaming up with some of the industry giants like Auxly and Tilray and Hexo. And we have a cross collaboration with High Times Magazine. And then October 1st, 2018 came and stores started to open. So we got our first 4 stores open in 2018. And really since then, 2019 and 2020, we've been opening corporate stores and franchise stores right across the country. And just to give you an idea of where we still think there's a lot of growth, in Alberta, there's about 1 store now for every 8,000 people, whereas in Ontario, it's still 1 for every 45,000. So as we continue to open stores, we really think that Ontario is going to be a great market for us, and I'll discuss that in a couple minutes. So here's our heat map. We're currently operating 74 stores in strategic locations in 47 cities, 5 provinces, coast to coast across the Canada, with over 100 expected to be open in 2021, which also includes increasing our corporate store count. Just to give you a few highlights, I mean, this is all done organically. We've never, every single one of these stores has been done organically. We have an incredible real estate team, custom mapping software that allows us to identify opportunities across the country and really secure some of the premier locations to become available. A few highlights that I'd just like to mention. In British Columbia, we're actually the only national retailer with multiple stores throughout the Okanagan Valley, with 4 stores in Penticton and Vernon and a couple in Kelowna. And then also in Alberta, which is our home base and which was the first province to really have an open licensing system that followed their liquor model. We've obviously got great coverage all the way from the south of Lethbridge to the north of Cold Lake, lots of stores in Calgary and Edmonton and everywhere in between. But I think something else that's really cool is that we're actually the only retailer that has stores in both Banff and Jasper National Park, which collectively receive over 6.5 million visitors per year. So we've really done a great job in covering Alberta and have some future opportunity to grow. Saskatchewan also started by lottery, and we've had a store open there since day one in Moose Jaw, which is a franchise location, but it's proven to be really an awesome province to retail in. So we have 3 stores, corporate stores in Saskatoon ready to go. The first one will be open next month, with a couple right behind in really premier real estate locations in Saskatchewan. And then Manitoba also opened up licensing recently, and we've got 4 stores ready to go in Manitoba, which we expect will open in spring, summer, a couple corporate stores and a couple franchise stores. Now, we've been preparing for Ontario really since the beginning. We've had a Toronto office. We've secured a number of leases there since day one, and we were actually the first national retail brand on April 1st, 2019, to be able to open a store, and it was really open to great fanfare. We had, it was in Kingston, and we had an early collaboration with the Tragically Hip. We used Kingston royalty, so we've just gotten so much goodwill and love our Ontario customers. We're currently operating 21 stores, or the 21st store is about to open this week, with a concrete plan to over 40 by the end of the year. And then also we're one of only 2 national retail brands in Newfoundland. So we have a terrific partner there who's vertically integrated with a grow facility. And we actually have 4 stores open now, St. John's and Gander. And our 5th store is about to open probably spring, summer. And Newfoundland, we're allowed to do a drive-through. So drive-through cannabis is kind of a new concept, but in Canada anyway, and we're looking forward to seeing how that goes. So that's our footprint right now as it exists in Canada. The next thing I just want to show you is our retail brand. And as I mentioned, we're an omni-channel retailer, and we really take a lot of pride in everything we do. The space, as you saw some from the videos, is really it celebrates Canada, from the country's unique spirit to its storied landscape. Within the confines of these walls, we really want new communities to be formed, and really everyone is welcome. And just it's not only about design, it's also about functionality. Our floors are distressed vinyl plank, but not only for aesthetics, but also because the materials provide harsh durability during the Canadian winter. So we've thought about really every element of the retail store. We've got photos, murals, utilitarian items, just to provide a really cool and differentiated shopping experience that's welcome and appreciated by not only legacy consumers, but new consumers like your soccer parent or your senior, who really feel welcome in our store. I've talked about the brand, and behind that brand is 700 passionate cannabis enthusiasts and employees who are well educated and trained. We have a customized app where every employee has it in their phone and in their pocket, so they're able to stay up to date on the latest trends and the latest news, and really be effective in educating your consumers on responsible use. And I talked about the franchise model. One thing I'd like to highlight is it's really an independent business into itself. But our franchise satisfaction is high. We were actually provided with a Franchise Choice Designation Award in 2020, which is a huge honor to receive from our franchise partners, and an endorsement from the franchise community that says, we're doing a good job. Our marketing is something we're really passionate about. And I think the Globe and Mail famously was quoted in saying, no excitement, no glamour, no fun in marketing. And our creative director actually said in a podcast the other day that I actually think it's made us be more creative and, in fact, be more effective. We were awarded a 2020 Platinum Markham Award for one of the campaigns we did in the summer. And what we have coming down the pipeline for 2021 is just going to be, it's going to floor people at how creative we can be outside of traditional marketing norms. We've got an extensive product portfolio. And now there's over 1,000 products available across Canada to be able to sell, which allows us to differentiate. We've also just recently announced our own custom brand called SpiritLeaf Origins, which again will allow us to differentiate. And Cannabis 2.0 is really just it's a new format. It hasn't even been available in Canada for a year. So we're talking about edibles and beverages and chocolates and lozenges and bath salts. And while we're still seeing about 65% of our consumers buy flower, in more traditional markets, it kind of moves to 50-50. So we still think there's a lot of growth, particularly driven around the Cannabis 2.0 market. And we have an incredible selection on it already, and it's going to continue to grow. We talk a little bit about our loyalty program. I believe we're the biggest in the country, and it doesn't matter in size necessarily, but we have 210,000 advocates and fans that shop with us. Every time they leave our store, they get an automated text that they receive a point for, and then they're able to redeem those points for merchandise. So we have hundreds of thousands of people across the country wearing SpiritLeaf hats and swag and shirts, and just like really loyal, great fans. They tend to spend more on average in our stores than customers who aren't members of loyalty. And we've really built a deep connection with them. And we're able to provide a local level, like information on product drops and access to promotions, which has really made this a very effective form of marketing for us. But don't just believe me. We do have a premium store experience, and our guests are being such great advocates and telling us how much they love us and sometimes how much they don't. But there was an independent research done, and we actually have the highest Google ratings of any other national retailer in the country. I encourage you to go, Google, if you're on your computer, SpiritLeaf Scarborough or SpiritLeaf Masonville. Let the customers speak. Obviously, as CEO, I'm going to tell you we're the best, but our customers are really being great fans and great advocates for us. Now, as we've gone into COVID and as an omni-channel retailer, we've really had to shift. But incredibly, we have this terrific technology and infrastructure behind us, which has just allowed for omni-channel retail. So we have delivery, we've got e-commerce in provinces where it allows, and our customers can really buy from a variety of different methods. And we have 75 live menus across the country. And the technology is really just incredible. In Ontario and Saskatchewan, we are doing delivery right now. And literally we have the most sophisticated and awesome Uber delivery integration that we've collaborated with that makes it super slick, and our customers are really enjoying it. And we hope delivery is something that expands across the country as the months and years go ahead. And also, just in terms of name recognition, we have incredible media presence. In 2020, we had over 600 stories, 25% more than our nearest competitor. Year to date, we've actually received almost 1,800 stories have been written about us, with print circulation over 11.5 million. So we're really doing a great job. People are loving what we're doing. They love local ownership, and that's really helped us build that strong brand recognition. And of course, in addition to our people, we also recognize the importance of data, and we did a collaboration with Headset Nielsen. And what that allows us to do is just ensure we have the right product in the right stores at the right time. And another benefit to that for our franchise partners is they've got the visibility of 75 stores to be able to compare data against and buy from. But then because they're local, they're able to really target and hone down on what their local customers want a lot more than if we were just trying to buy for 75 stores from a corporate office. So the market intelligence program has been fantastic, and also provides additional revenue streams for us. So how does that result in sales? Well, our operating performance, this is our system-wide sales, which is often misunderstood, but system-wide sales shows our overall market penetration and what we're doing as a company as a whole. So as you can see, we've had 12 consecutive months of system-wide sales growth. In December, all of our stores that were open for a full year actually had same-store sales growth. So this isn't just adding on new stores. This is also us becoming better retailers, more consumers shopping instead of the illegal market to the legal market, and more adoption. And I would also add that our market share has also grown for 11 consecutive months based on Stats Canada. We're looking forward to seeing December. But we're started at about 3.5% in January. And in November, we were at 4.38% of the entire Canadian market, which I think is really just an incredible achievement. So how does that translate into revenue and profitability? We haven't released our Q4 yet, but we have released some numbers. We've been profitable in Q2 and Q3 and are looking forward to putting out Q4. But as you can see, the franchise model is really effective. And I guess, in terms of profitability, a good comparison for all those investors to look at out there is, a similar competitor in the US. MedMen actually did about 35 million in retail sales in their last quarter reported, but they lost $11 million. So I know MedMen's a bit of an anomaly, but it just goes to show you that a franchise system, despite it maybe not having as sexy as top line revenue, can actually be extremely profitable. This wasn't done alone. Obviously, we have the most incredible team. This is not a new team that's been developed. We've been working together, some of us for 15 to 20 years in our legacy business. We're really true cannabis enthusiasts and really take a lot of pride in everything that we do. This is a hardworking team and efficient. We're lean, and I couldn't be more proud of the executive and all the support center. And really, it extends to my earlier point where we have 700 employees across the country who I really believe are bought into the success of the whole company, not just their store. And then finally, our board of directors. We've been very fortunate to have such a great representation and board of directors. Newly appointed this year is Canada's own resident dragon, Manjeet Minhas, who's obviously got great experience as an entrepreneur and also private label, and has just been a terrific addition. Russ Wilson also joined our board when his firm, Prairie Merchant, founded by his dad, Brett Wilson, invested earlier in 2019. And Russ has just a great wide variety of experience in the cannabis space as a whole. Andrew McMillan is the Auxly representative on our board and was the former PEI of a CEO of PEI Cannabis, so he's got great experience. David Margolis was one of the original guys in Alcanna and Liquor Depot and on their board. So we really have strong corporate governance. And we added Frank Rochon as a director this year, who's the former chairman of Deloitte with an impressive career and lots of M&A experience. So we've been supported by our board of directors, and our corporate culture really extends from top to bottom and bottom to top. And then finally, our strategic partners have really been terrific, and we collaborate with them in a number of different ways. Oxley is one of our largest shareholders, Hexo, we've got Tilray and High Park in there, and Prairie Merchant, who helped us be able to open corporate stores in Ontario. And then High Times, we did this very cool collaboration with them where we actually have the right to display High Times magazines across the country. We have the largest High Times magazine collection in Canada, actually, with the original 4 editions in our office. But what High Times did is it really gave us that legitimacy. It was important to us that the legacy consumer would buy into SpiritLeaf, and that collaboration will continue and increase over time. So that's the thesis of what we were doing and how we did it. We've obviously proven our ability to open stores across Canada. We believe that our franchise system will translate well to international markets. We've got over 70 stores already operating. We're already profitable. We're operating, as I said, in 47 cities in strategic, high volume, high profile locations. And we're going to continue to expand. We still see some great opportunity in Canada, and of course have our eye onto some of the international markets. This is not my first rodeo. I've got over 20 years of experience. I'm passionate about franchising and retail and supporting entrepreneurs and cannabis. So it's like kind of the perfect marriage. And I think a lot of my close contemporaries would say if there's anybody who should be a CEO of a retail cannabis company, I was probably the guy. So it's been really awesome to get so much support from everybody around us. And our key strategic partners really allow us to have a fully integrated business model and some really strong bench strength. Give you an idea on our cap table, because I know that's why everybody is here. I would say our top 6 shareholders own approximately 40%, and I'll let Andrew speak to it, but we think there's a lot of great opportunity. And when people start to realize, and I hope you understand today from the strength and the power of the franchise system, how there's a bit of a disconnect. So I'll let Andrew and the pros speak to that. And I guess there's the disclaimer, and over to Q&A.
That was a great overview, Darren. Thank you so much for that. Lots to pick away at there. We got a lot of questions from the audience in the Zoom function and on my email. So I'll try to pick away at some of these. First one, I do want to lob in one myself to get us started. I do understand that there's a very robust pipeline for applications for potential partners looking to work with you on a SpiritLeaf franchise. Why, in your view, is there so much demand for the franchise model you offer, and how will that continue to drive your business forward over the coming years?
Yeah, well, when you look back to 2017 and 2018, people were really looking for a way to be able to access the cannabis market, and becoming a licensed producer was not very accessible. It was expensive and complicated, and retail really offered a great avenue. Retail is something people understand. But at the same time, it was also complicated to get in. There's high barriers to entry. The application fees, or the application process across the country, is quite challenging. And entrepreneurs sometimes just want to, some entrepreneurs want to go it alone, which is totally cool. But other entrepreneurs want to be part of something bigger. And in my legacy business, which was the watch business, we'd be happy if we get like 3 or 4 applications a month. But the applications continue to stream. So we've really just had the opportunity to choose from incredible people who want to be part of the cannabis business, and we want to be part of SpiritLeaf. And going forward, I expect in international markets, there just to be a very healthy pipeline if and when those opportunities present.
That's great color. We got another audience question actually several audience questions looking at the near-term and long-term corporate and franchise partner mix. So looking at 2021, what should we expect in terms of corporate and franchise store openings and the mix between those? And in the long term, what do you feel is the kind of ideal mix between corporate and franchise for SpiritLeaf?
It's a great question. So with our 75 stores, we're currently operating 15 corporate stores and 60 franchise partners. I anticipate through the end of this year, it'll be about 25 corporate stores and the rest will be franchise partners. I think that 25% corporate store and 75% franchise mix seems to be healthy and quite manageable for us. Yeah, it's a little bit opportunistic. It's a little bit where we haven't necessarily sold a territory that drives our decision to do a corporate store versus a franchise store. But the corporate stores also provide this great infrastructure for us to be able to support our franchise partners right across the country. And we know our shareholders like top line revenue. So we are as much focused on developing our corporate store business as we are on also developing our franchise store business. And but there's no way we would have achieved 75 stores. And if you look at our peers, those who've gotten close to us in terms of store count were as a result of mergers of multiple brands. So really a big credence to the franchise business for allowing us to be the largest single brand retailer in the country.
That's great. And when you look ahead to the Canadian cannabis market, how many years of runway do you see for supernormal growth ahead before we start hitting a more mature phase for the industry? And once we start to enter that mature phase, how do you continue to grow beyond that?
Yeah, another good question. So 2020, I believe that we're still going to have quite a good runway through 2022. I don't need to remind everybody, but we've been operating in abnormal times since day one. I mean, from supply problems to licensing delays to provincial governments changing their mind on how things are going to roll out. So I don't even think we've been operating as a normal retail business yet. Every step of the way, it's been difficult. But as COVID starts to end and as we emerge out of this, people are going to kind of wake up and go, oh my God, there's 100 SpiritLeaf stores across the country. And so I think we can continue to have quite aggressive hyper growth in Canada through 2022. And then post 2022, I've said this from day one, it's been our mantra. All of the foundational things that we've put in to our brand are going to help us over and above the rest of the competition. We know people like brands. We know people like shopping local, which is the benefit of our franchise model. And then also just on a macro level for cannabis retail, we still only have about 25% adoption in cannabis, whereas in alcohol, it's like 80% adoption. So I still think there's a huge runway, maybe not as hyper growth, but I still think there's going to be consistent growth in mature markets like Colorado and Washington State. I mean, they're on 7 consecutive years of growth. So I still think we're kind of at the mid stage, maybe rounding second base, but there's still a lot of excitement ahead for us and retailers.
That's awesome. Great response. Getting quite a few questions about the US. So, I'm going to ask yourself, you've proven yourself as a Canadian retailer and a Canadian brand of cannabis. We do have this large market opportunity to the south of us. Would you look at taking Inner Spirit into the US cannabis market? And if so, what do you think is the best approach to be able to do that?
Yeah. Well, the US still has a long way to go towards federal legalization. I'd be quite shocked if it happens in 2021. Also, you've seen a lot of Canadian retailers and brands enter the US market who have not necessarily been successful, but you've also seen other Canadian retailers be extremely successful. So we've taken some initial steps. We're certainly conscious of the US market. We've got plans, and I look forward to sharing them in due course. But right now, it's federally illegal, so it makes it very difficult for all of us to cross border. Having said that, the franchise model, we believe, is going to be an effective way to get there in certain states that don't require vertical integration. So yes, the US and Mexico and Israel, who are the next up for cannabis and international retail legalization, are markets that we're interested in. The US is obviously something we're interested in, and we've taken some great first steps to hopefully bring that to reality.
That's great. I did want to ask about something you brought up in the presentation. You teased us about some marketing initiatives coming up in 2021. If you had anything that you could share on that, that would be great. If not, we would love to hear more about your private label brand that you are launching and how that will roll out across the nation.
Sure. Well, I've got some competitors on the call, so my marketing team would certainly get really upset if I did it. But let me give you a bit of a snapshot in terms of where our heads are at and where my head is at in terms of marketing. Every year, and this has really been a big part of my training and how we learn to connect with our customers. But every year, we participate in what's called the Gathering, which is a Forbes top-rated business summit and really a master class for brand and business leaders. Yeah, I'm taking the stage for a second year this year to present amongst business leaders and brand leaders from like Netflix and Budweiser, Shopify, Herschel, Amazon, Skip the Dishes, and other top brands. And it just allows us kind of to share our secrets a little bit and our knowledge on branding and marketing and building corporate culture and connecting with our customers. And that's really that, and our manifesto is really behind everything we do and how we think about branding and marketing.
And last question from our end before we have to turn the call over. Darren, please tell us what catalysts to look forward to in 2021. What should investors, what should consumers who follow the Inner Spirit story, what should we look forward to in the next year?
Well, I think firstly, we only had 43 stores open last year for the entire year. So we started the year with 68 stores. And we're at 75 as of this week. With a clear plan to 100. So we're going to continue to open stores in communities across the country. We're going to continue to educate and inspire our customers and help new users adopt and legacy customers come into the legal market. So I think there's enough natural catalysts that we've already put out there for it to be an extraordinarily exciting year for Inner Spirit and SpiritLeaf and our franchise partners and employees. And then the additional catalysts on top of that, I mean, they're coming, and we've got a lot of great things in the pipeline, some collaborations with other retailers and industry partners that we're looking forward to sharing and just continue to build on the base that we've done and showing everybody what an incredible company this truly is as a single brand SpiritLeaf focused retailer that is built on people.
That's a great overview of the company. Thank you so much, Darren, for joining us today. You did an excellent job of handling questions, great insights into the business, and we look forward to seeing how operations play out in 2021. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. Thanks, Echelon, and thanks everybody for taking the time to hear our story.
Thank you.